We're going to jump into some Nexera. Unbelievable. Finally, Max is talking about Nexera. It's been tagged for the longest time, but he hasn't been talking about it. Yeah, smash that like for some Allianceblock Nexera. All right. Let's pull this up. Here's the recent report straight from an Allianceblock, and this is good stuff. I think this is pretty cool. So it goes on to mention some of these key things. An optimal trading experience means fast, yes, fast networks and deep liquidity stores. The Nexera exchange supports this by doing what? Leveraging Arbitrum's fast and cheap transactions and even Uniswap v3. Now, I just want to state this, all right? We have talked about Uniswap v4, and I'm just being honest. V4 is going to be an absolute game changer. So again, as you guys saw, the topic of the show is lock and load. You might want to consider picking up some Uniswap, especially at some of these prices, because for the future, that is an absolute game changer. Remember how we mentioned some of the the changes in gas fees, right? Didn't they mention something like 95 or 99%? Crazy. Going to be absolutely revamped on that V4. Anyway, this is a Nexera segment. So DeFi's largest liquidity provider, right, is obviously Uniswap. So a little more. Let's do that. So I'm not going to bore you with all of it, but what I do want to show you is some of these highlights. Let's jump into the next page because they do have some highlights. And if you hold the Allianceblock, you do want to pay attention to what is happening because we haven't talked about it in a while. So introduction of the Nexera exchange. Nexera exchange. What the heck? Really, Max? Yeah. Allianceblock unveils Nexera exchange, a decentralized exchange with an advanced on-chain limit order book protocol. Does that not sound bullish? Integration with Uniswap and Arbitrum. Nexera is starting with integration into Uniswap protocol to leverage, like we mentioned. It will function on Arbitrum's mainnet, which provides faster and cheaper transactions. But let's face it, like I said before, Uniswap V4, we're talking V3. V4 is where it's at, man. That's going to be absolutely game changing. You're going to see shows in the future that literally they're going to be talking about it a lot. I'm just going to predict the future right here. Ready? All right, don't predict it a lot. Shout out to 2-Bit. At some point in the future, when Uniswap V4 drops, he's going to be talking the living hell out of it on his show. I can almost guarantee it. Shout out to Mr. 2-Bit. All right. Upcoming and innovative features in trading. Introducing staking enabled on chain order books, order triggering matching, yield optimized staked orders, and dynamic range order book provision. These features empower traders with enhanced control, efficiency, and capital utilization strategies. What's the bottom line here? Literally everything that's the opposite of what? FTX, Miss Caroline. Oh my God, Max actually referenced Caroline, but did in a serious way. Yeah, I did. You guys always joke around about Caroline, but in reality, remember some of the quotes that she made in regards to we don't need no stop orders or anything like that. Who really uses that joking around? And then literally, are you kidding me? Look how that worked out. So yeah, Nexera, literally opposite of FTX. It should be, right? Upcoming incentivization, with Nexera token. I like this because if anything, for some people, I'm going to be honest, some people just don't really understand the full utility of Nexera, the token. So this is great because if anything, this gives you a broader idea or gives you a little bit of education of hey, you know what? This is kind of like another utility layer, if you will, when it comes to the Nexera token. And, at the end of the day, last I checked, we're all about these utility-based tokens. So let's get into some of that utility for a brief moment. The Nexera token plays a critical role in the Nexera exchange, incentivizing traders to actively participate. Traders can earn a percentage of trading fees with an additional stability staking pool for continuous rewards based on traders' reputation. All right, there's advancement to tokenized asset trading. I mean, some of that stuff is good because obviously, especially with what happened with KuCoin, I mean, that used to be a good place for they're not going to KYC the hell out of you, and look how that worked out. All right, so, they give all these thanks and good stuff. It talks about some of these other key things. I think there's a little bit more I wanted to get into. Hold on a second. Oh, this is good because it points out some of the obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Check this out. Decentralized exchanges in their current state offer vast potential but face challenges in user experience and operational fluidity when compared to their centralized counterparts. The Nexera exchange seeks to bridge this gap, providing users with an experience reminiscent of centralized exchanges while retaining the decentralized ethos. Especially with the advent of tokenized assets, it's essential for exchanges to offer a platform where these assets can be traded with the same ease of traditional digital tokens. Let's take a moment to point some things out of why you want to pay attention to this. So I'm going to pull up CoinMarketCap, and yes, I will reference Uniswap. Why am I going to do this? Because if anything, again, the name of the show is called Lock and Load. So here is Uniswap, and the reason why I want to point this out is because I want to give some of the newcomers that perspective of understanding when we get into a bull market, why you hold some of these particular digital assets. Now, this is a good example, okay? Because Allianceblock is breaking into the exchange, obviously making their own exchange, and that is a big deal. Here's a great example of why that's a big deal. With mass adoption, and we will get mass adoption, they are creating a very unique platform, especially when it comes to that, fiat to crypto on ramps, if you will, right? So, or the bridge, I should say, not necessarily the on ramp. Here is Uniswap on the stats. This is the all-time, right? But on these stats, and this is a new area of CMC you can just scroll down to. So the all-time lows for Uniswap was back on September 16th, 2020, 3 years ago. Since then, that was a 1,007% gain for some people that took advantage of that. Look at the all-time high. We're 89% down from the all-time high. But when was that all-time high? Well, that was during, for instance, the last bull market. And we do know many projects back in May of 2021 did very, very well for like first all-time highs. Then they had second all-time highs. Perfect example, obviously, Shiba Inu, but that's not an exchange. We're talking specifically about exchanges. So Uniswap, decentralized exchange, $45 on that platform. Why was it so much? Keep in mind this. You saw, for instance, a big influx of all sorts of projects trying to copy what Shiba Inu did, right? You saw not necessarily like the birth of Saitama, and I hate referencing Saitama, but I believe Saitama came like in June. There's other ones that came out of this whole thing of May. And again, they had to have a platform to go to. You have ETH. You need to go to, for instance, like a Uniswap. You need to be able to do just that. Pay in ETH and, swap it for the asset you're looking to obtain, some kind of puppy dog Inu. That created a tremendous amount of supply and demand for the exchange token of Uniswap. Now, Max, you're talking a lot about Uniswap. Can you come back to Nexera? Right. My key thing is this. I'm not going to talk about necessarily Uniswap all day and say, oh, this is what happened in the past, but it's a good reference. Understand where Nexera is going. That's the bottom line. These entry points for instance, like Nexera, right? And we'll pull up that on the watch list. Where are we at on Nexera? So on Nexera, currently speaking, it's 0.06. You have a ranking of 379. You also have, for instance, let's go over here. Was it market cap of 42,567,000? So my thing is this is a sleeping giant for many, many reasons. Okay. And basically speaking, the way I look at it is once more people get in tune of their platform, how cheap it is going to be, to do all the basic things that people were accustomed to in the past with the likes of Uniswap and so on. And they even partnered up with Uniswap, right? They didn't even got the Arbitrum going on. So again, getting into a full-fledged bull market is, Allianceblock's Nexera really going to sit at 0.0605? I don't think so, right? This is big, big news when it comes to Nexera. Again, I don't need to keep preaching about it. If anything, you can, do more of your own research, and you probably have. I do feel as though it's a big deal, and that's why we'll continue to cover the likes of Nexera. That was a big update. Glad to bring it to you guys.